One of the coldest lessons adulthood drops is figuring out the difference between a friend and a person who's just there to have fun with you. When we're young, life isn't constantly testing us like it is in adulthood, so it doesn't really occur as a thought that a friend might actually be somebody you depend upon. When I was younger, I would just consider a friend somebody who's chill and fun to be around and a part of the same friend group. It's all vibes, and you don't have a real measure of a person's loyalty until life tests it. You hit a wall, broke, stranded, desperate for a hand, and suddenly the people you bled for show you exactly who they are. And once that illusion cracks, you realize those weren't ride or dies, they were just convenient company. Because once you see that side of someone, you can't unsee it. Friendships stop being automatic, you put your guard up, and you become much more selective about who you let into your circle. I remember the exact moment I learned this lesson, and in that moment I decided that it was time to ghost out of my day one friend group. So I'm going to tell this story, and I hope you listen. I hope you take this lesson, and if you relate to anything I'm saying here, then I would suggest you reevaluate your friend group as well. Or at the very least, run a quick systems check on the people who you consider to be day ones, and put yourself in a situation that they could easily get you out of, and see if they lend a helping hand. This could be as simple as just sending a quick text right now. Just text the people you consider to be day ones, tell them you're in a jam, and see how they respond. Because believe me, it's better to know if people are going to have your back now than if it becomes an emergency and you have to find out the hard way. So take my word for it, because this is a lesson I definitely had to learn the hard way. I was far too loyal to the members of my original friend group just because they were there from the beginning. I made the mistake of thinking that people were my true friends just because I had known them for years. Alright, so let's get into the story. Picture this. I grew up outside the city of Boston, so basically all of New England was my playground once I got a car. I went to the beaches in Rhode Island, hikes in New Hampshire, and just hanging out all around New England, that was my stomping ground. So having access to the city of Boston and all the smaller cities that are around that area, I had a handful of different friend groups, but today we're going to be focusing on the day ones. I was in the same school system, grades K through 12 growing up, so I had a pretty tight-knit friend group all throughout my life, and we all went to college after high school together too, so we stayed friends much into our 20s. What started to happen though, aside from just natural things like life getting in the way and friends just phasing out of your life because just life takes them in a different direction, the core friend group became corrupted essentially because we had integrated different people who we'd met around the city in different places, so it wasn't really the original friend group anymore. It was just basically three of us and then a bunch of people we'd met throughout the years. But I'd held on to this core friend group because they connected me to the wider friend group and everybody I knew growing up. So even though we were falling into a bad crowd, so to speak, I still considered these people to be my best friends. And shit, all the trouble we'd get into, I mean, it was fun when we were younger, but as we started to get older, it just started to seem like there were going to be real life consequences from the way we were acting. And it was harmless trouble for the most part. For example, there was a city just outside Boston, and sometimes they would have outside concerts there, and it would attract big names. Like I saw Lil Peep there, I saw Juice WRLD there, I saw Lil Pump, I saw X. I saw a lot of these big SoundCloud rappers in concert while they were on the come up, and I got to go for free. Basically, a hobby of ours was sneaking into concerts, and some of us would take it a step further and try to get backstage. Sometimes they were successful, but I never followed them that far. But our main go-to method when the concerts were held outside was just to climb up this tall building that was just overlooking the venue, and everybody would hang out on the top of this flat roof building. And we had no permission to be up on top of this building, but nobody had attempted to stop us before, so that was basically our go-to concert method for about 2 summers. It was an awesome way to see concerts for free, especially the way they're so expensive nowadays. But of course, nothing good lasts, and word got out about this. People told their friends they wanted to bring girls. So the last time we ever went up there, we had about 15 people going with us, and it was pretty janky to get up there. You had to climb up a fire escape and do some MacGyver maneuvers just to get onto the buildings that you could see the concert. And this was slight work when it was a small squad. When it was just me and the bros, we would get up there with no problem. But this time, it was so hard to get these people up the fire escape that it drew too much attention. The security security or someone must have seen us all fucking around just going up the side of this building, and we had no business being there. We looked like people going to a concert, and they were probably already on the lookout for people who were causing trouble from that crowd. So once the flashlights came out and security was busting the people who were at the bottom of the fire escape, I was like, holy shit, because me and bro were already at the top of the building, so we had to pull some parkour shit to get down. So then it took us a little while to get reunited with the people we actually came with, but the person who originally gave us a ride was nowhere to be found, and they'd told me that he'd gone home. I guess he got scared, ran to his car by himself, and just drove away. So we start blowing up his phone, because of course we want to make our exit too. I mean, we've already overstayed our welcome in this unfamiliar city, and we're hours away from home. So luckily it was the summer, but we basically just spent the night walking around the city, and I remember just being so pissed that night, and I couldn't believe that he would leave us stranded there. This person who I'd known for years, he wasn't one of the people who I went to high school with K through 12, but he was still somebody I'd known for quite a long time, and I thought he'd at least get me out of a jam. So that was the last time I went on one of those escapades, and I just felt stupid. I was like, next time I go to a concert, I'm just gonna pay. And actually, I haven't been to a concert since then. And my association with that so-called friend ended that night. And that was actually the first time I completely cut somebody off who I had considered to be a friend, but it burned me, and I learned a valuable lesson. When the shit hits the fan, that's when people show their true colors. So that was my first experience unfriending someone IRL, but it stuck with me. At the same time, I was still loyal to my day ones, and I would still hang out with them, but we wouldn't go and do stuff like that anymore. I mean, they still would, but I wouldn't go with them. So I started to focus on doing more responsible shit, and my best friend at the time had a similar revelation as I did. So me and him sort of broke off from the pack, and he was a true day one, somebody I'd known throughout this entire time. We're actually going to call him Jimmy. That's not his real name, but I don't want to put bro on blast. So what me and Jimmy ended up doing for fun was trying to resell shit that we'd find at flea markets and other places online, and basically we were trying to hustle. We were into that e-commerce shit heavy, and we were just trying to find every angle to make money online. But the thing was, Jimmy didn't have a car, so I was doing all the driving to all these places and, carrying a lot of the weight. Anyway, eventually we got tired of the e-commerce shit, and we started working at UPS, and it wasn't bad. I mean, UPS is a pretty physically demanding job, but working with my best friend, and also we had a few friends who we made at the company, so the days went by pretty cool. I mean, we got a few laughs in, and it was all right. The reason I'm telling this story, though, is because this was the biggest mask off moment where I realized that some friendships are just not meant to last. See, I helped Jimmy a lot with that job. At one point, he needed to get paperwork from his house, so I drove him all the way from work to his house and back just so we could get that done. I was willing to lend bro a helping hand from time to time, and he would reciprocate sometimes. I mean, he wasn't a deadbeat. I mean, I thought I knew what to expect from this dude, and he was connected to the same group of friends who we'd all known forever. So I guess I had some sense of a misguided loyalty towards the friend group that we used to have, and now we were starting to get older and the friend group was breaking apart. He essentially became my best friend by default. Like, me and bro would chill regularly, and then occasionally we'd have a cameo appearance from somebody else from the larger circle. Anyway, time goes on. I'm working at UPS, right? And a day comes when I just don't have any gas. I wake up in the morning and my gas tank is near zero, but somehow I still manage to get to work on fumes. And at this time in my life, I was up against it, living paycheck to paycheck. So basically my goal for the day was just get through the workday and somehow get home after, and then I'll get my money and I'll be able to put gas in my car. So naturally, this is in the back of my mind the entire time I'm at work. And I come up with the solution. Hey, maybe Jimmy can float me a few bucks so that I can at least have enough gas to get home, and I won't get my car towed, it won't break down on the side of the road. Avoid catastrophe, right? And I had faith in Jimmy. There was no doubt in my mind that bro would float me a few bucks, and I'd even pay him back with interest because I'd be so grateful just to get my car home. So finally, later that day, I track bro down in the warehouse, and I explain to him the situation, and he just hits me with the biggest glazed look and the dead-eyed stare, and he just says, "You gotta put gas in your car, bro," and walks away. And it might not seem like much, but that's when the illusion of friendship cracked for me. I know talking about it years later, yeah, it just sounds like just gas money, and of course I did make it home that day. Actually, some random stranger lady gave me $5 because I went to the gas station and I was just putting like 50 cents. I basically took all the change that I had in the center console and I was just giving it to the gas station clerk like, oh, here's 49 cents. And it was crazy. The people in the gas station thought that it was way more serious than my actual so-called friend did. And I remember driving home just fuming. I mean, I was disillusioned. It completely shattered my worldview of friendship. Just the fact that this person who I'd known for so long didn't care if my car broke down on the side of the road. So after that, I decided to peace out of the friend group. I decided to just slowly phase myself out. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I didn't send any texts to him or anything like that. I still haven't really talked to him about it till this day. And that wasn't the last time we hung out either. That was definitely the last time I let him in my car. I mean, I didn't give bro a ride anywhere after that, but we definitely hung out a few times and like when the group got together. So over time, I would just prioritize other things besides hanging out with my friends. I would say yes a few times, do a few things with them, but most of the time I would say no. I would be busy doing other things or just stay home and do nothing instead. I realize these people aren't actually people I can depend upon. I mean, it's nice to have friends who you've known your entire life, and it's hard to give that up because you want day ones and you'll never have friends like you did when you were younger. But I guess that's the point. When you're young, you have the luxury of caring about, oh, are these people fun to hang out with? And if the vibes are right, then it's cool. But when you're older, it's like if my back was against the wall and these people were the only ones I could depend upon to get me out of a bad situation, would they actually help me? And that situation where that other dude left me stranded in the city that one time, well, that actually contributed a lot to it because at the time I thought, well, I don't know him that well. I mean, I've only known him for a few years. But the situation with Jimmy taught me that it doesn't matter how long you've known somebody, that your friends could just drop the ball on you and just not be there for you. They don't need to stab you in the back. They just need to basically flatline. So fast forward to now, I'm still in contact with all those people. I still have them on social media, and it's fine sending them a text every now and again, and I'll probably see them again in the future, but I don't plan on going back and hanging out like I used to. Especially because a couple of them never grew up out of that phase. They're still chilling like it's 2016. And I'm happy, I'm thankful for my reality check. And I know it's not for everybody, but my best decision was probably separating myself from that friend group. I once heard it said that growing up means accepting that most bonds have an expiration date built in, not because anybody turns evil, but because life gets heavier, priorities shift, and the version of yourself who was having fun with those people just doesn't exist anymore. So this was my attempt at communicating decades worth of experiences into a short YouTube video. If you guys like this one, let me know. I'll make more videos about friendship and I'll tell more stories about my experiences with that friend group and just give my opinion on friendship in general. And my final thought is just, if you have friends who actually have your back, it doesn't matter how long you've known them, just cherish the people who will actually get you out of a jam when you're in trouble. Alright, that's all for now. Appreciate y'all watching. This is Avery Apps signing out.